If you missed any of our episodes and you would like to unlock the archive, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and additionally you can download the previous episodes on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. On this special episode of Across the Line, we talk about mental health. In a very difficult time for Neil, Neil had to deal with some very difficult issues, and although Neil and I are very close friends, on the show he opened up about his issues with mental health. This was a very special episode also because the week that we actually did the episode, it was Mental Health Week, and for him to open up about such a difficult topic and share with us his experiences with mental health, it was very heartwarming, and I hope that the listeners will learn something from this episode. So please let us know your thoughts. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on the YouTube channel, download our episode on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and please leave us a comment if you were touched by this subject matter. Thank you.
But there's a part I want to get onto. There's a part of me that I'll get onto, and you know, don't want to go on for too much longer, but I'm excited now because I guess I've found myself. Living in that moment, I didn't enjoy it that much. I broke down.
Yeah. Why didn't you enjoy it? Or why couldn't you enjoy it? Sorry.
So not many people know, but at the start of the Premier League season, I started seeing a psychologist because I could do everything on the field, but mentally I was mentally and within myself I was empty. So I'm now saying it, and I was all happy, but the actual reality was I wasn't actually that happy we got promoted. Not that I wasn't happy. Hard to describe. It was like an empty happiness. There was no real fulfillment for me.
Because
I'm seeing my psychologist and understanding why is because I've always worried what's next. Because of what's happened to me in the past, it's like it's not real.
Right.
It happens, and I'm in my mind, half of me is like, it'll be taken away tomorrow. And then half of it's like, the job's not done. My mind goes straight to, am I going to sign a new contract? Am I going to play in the Premier League? What happens if? Why? And it's fascinating. Honestly, the work that I've done with him is unbelievable, because it's understanding you as a person and an athlete and how your mind works. So yeah, I mean, of course.
What's his analysis of it? Like, what's the psychologist
self-worth?
Yeah. Is he saying that a lot of the experiences that you've encountered throughout your career has damaged that, or has led to a sort of...
I think it's your life.
Yeah.
Your life gets you into a mind state of who you are as a person. Talk to many people, many millionaires, many businessmen. How many times you heard, I'm becoming a millionaire, multi-millionaire, but I was bankrupt 5 times? Because there's that persistence and fearless attitude of, I don't care, but I'm going to make it. But I kind of had that, but I don't have it all, in a way that I'm always scared it's going to end. Yeah. I'm always fearful that it's going to be taken away tomorrow. Regardless, I've got another 2 years left of my contract. I'm like,
right.
Am I good enough? That's a big thing. Yeah. I think sometimes I do put on a front of, I'm amazing, and I kind of do believe it, but sometimes I don't believe it. It's a really weird, it's a really bad way of describing it. But getting promoted, the reason I say this is because mental health in sport and all over, not just in sport, but everything, is massive. I think it's really interesting, and it's a real deep subject. And I remember the time when I was talking to my fiance and we spoke about it, and she said, I think you need to see a psychologist because you're not getting any enjoyment. You love playing football.
Right.
But you can't get away from the fact of something.
Right.
There's problem. You've got problems.
Yeah.
Basically, you've got problems, and I don't know what they are, and you need to work them out. Basically, right. It wasn't affecting our relationship or anything like that. It was just you can't kneel. You can't continue being this way.
Right.
You're not happy.
Right.
You've gone from 0 to 100 in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And you don't know what to do. You don't know how to handle it. You're not enjoying it. And I remember, it's weird because I was just saying how happy and enjoying I really was. But in that first Premier League season, I had obviously spoke to Alex, my fiance, and when we decided that I need to see a psychologist, I spoke to the doc, my club doctor.
Yeah.
And I said to him, Doc, I think I can have a word. And he's like, yeah, I need to see a psychologist. And he's like, wow, why? And I said, I just don't get any enjoyment. I said, I don't really feel anything. There's nothing there. And he's like, and he's the one who said, he goes, yeah. He says, when we got promoted, he goes, you may not have felt, he said, you sat in your spot. Everyone else is dancing, chilling, drinking, celebrating. Yeah. You sat in your spot for about 15 minutes and didn't move. And I didn't even know. I didn't know. I just sat there, and he goes, "Did you enjoy it?" And I go, "Yeah, but not really. But yeah, it's a weird concept." And as I said, when I started playing in the Premier League, I knew I had the ability to play there.
Yeah.
But it was, people would be asking, hey, they'd be telling me, and they would be telling me like, wow, you're really, really good. Yeah. And I'd be like, I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah. And I was, do you know when you ask me a question like humbled? Yeah. I was more humbled about what had been recent than previously.
Really.
And I couldn't find enjoyment because, I guess we've skipped a little bit. Obviously, we're playing in the Premier League at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I couldn't enjoy it.
No.
For the first however months of the Premier League season, I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy it. You know. I just found it extremely, extremely tough mentally. Not because of my ability, just because I couldn't realise where I was in terms of what I achieved, I guess.
Yeah.
So
in talking to the psychologist, has he managed to sort of uncover certain things that has enabled you to feel a sense of fulfilment? Like, is it something that you do you feel more fulfilled now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how has he managed to sort of uncover that?
I think it's different walks of life. My parents are Christians, and I've grown up in a Christian home, and that time that I was in Exeter, I was brought up in the church, and my Fulham days, I went well away from it.
Yeah.
Well away. Yeah. Far away in the distance. And it wasn't until Exeter when I thought, wow, I've got nothing to turn to. I've got nothing. What am I doing? And that's a lot of the times when people turn to Christ. And it's like... And it was like a breath of fresh air, basically, for me. And there's nothing wrong with anyone's faith or what. And the psychologist was like, it's because you've been brought up in such a humble environment.
Right.
And even in the Bible, we're saying about, giving and receiving. And when you give, be humble about everything. Right. You don't blow your own trumpet, basically. Yeah. And he was like, at times, Neil, you have to blow your own trumpet. Yeah, he's not saying that, he goes, you're reading certain pieces of the Bible, but you're taking them how you want to and not how it's meant to be.
You're interpreting them wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. In your own way, the way that you want to take them. but it's in a negative way.
Right. Okay.
Towards me. So I've had to tweak that and not be the big time diva that I used to be,
Right.
but at the same time not be the cowardly mouse of who I was. There's a level ground of, yes, enjoy, but don't enjoy too much, but don't get too low that, you know, it's, you know, you're not going to see light at the end of the tunnel,
right,
kind of thing. And at the back end of the Premier League, I think it showed in my performances and everything that I was enjoying it a lot more.
Right.
I was living in the moment.
Yeah.
That was probably the best way of describing it. I couldn't live in the moment. So whether it be the promotion, us getting, you know, you're talking about, we missed it before, you know, the Azkals, first time we got qualified for the Asian Cup. I couldn't live in the moment because 12 hours later I'm on a flight back to the UK, and then 24 hours long from that I'm playing on a Saturday.
Yeah.
So everyone else is enjoying it, partying, celebrating. We just got through to the Asian Cup. Mine was work. My mind has always been work. Right, so we got promoted. I said, my mind doesn't go to great, right, let's have a big party. Mine was like, am I going to play in the Premier League next year?
Yeah.
Am I going to sign a new contract? Who are they going to bring in? Is he going to take my spot? Am I going to play? How long am I going to play for? Are you going to give me 2 games? Are you going to give me 3? Am I going to play? My mind was on overdrive, and I couldn't relax.
Right.
And that's the type of person that I am, because I've always wanted more. I've always wanted the best, like we spoke about. So there's that's a big part.
I mean, is that something that you think is also like one of the driving factors behind some of your success, though? You know what I mean? Like people talk about successful people and the fact that they can't switch off. Nothing is never enough for them. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
In a sense that you're so driven. So like you're so driven that I'm always focused. I'm always focused. The thing that is actually making you, it's hard for you to switch off, is also the thing that drives you on.
100%.
So I guess, are you saying that you found a balance between being driven now and then also, you know, enjoying the moment as it happens?
So this is the reason and the way I've got with the psychologist is that you can have it all.
Yeah.
You can be driven and you can be passionate and you can want to win. And then you can enjoy winning, but you can then go straight back to hard work.
Right.
Do you know? It's not one of those where you need to be. No, I need to work straight away. No, enjoy it. Don't go over the top with it. Right, now come back to ground and you start again.
Yeah.
You know, so it's learning how to do that within yourself and how to managing it, because. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad at my age that I've done what I've done in terms of my mental side of things.
Yeah.
Because it's a very short career, and the fact that this won't last forever, this paycheck won't last forever, this buzz of walking out in front of 40, 50, 80,000 people doesn't last forever. And once it's gone, you know, you need to have a level head on you to be able to understand how to continue a normal life.
Yeah.
You know, regardless on what you've got in your bank or what house you have, what cars you drive, you need to be able to go back into the real world.
Yeah. I mean, if you hadn't have met this, or we hadn't spoken to the psychologist, do you think that's something that you would have struggled with later on, post football career?
I think I would have probably destructed before then.
You think so?
Yeah.
You would have you would have spontaneously combusted. Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, doesn't mean I wouldn't have had a career.
Yeah.
It just means, you know, when they say like happy wife, happy life, as you know.
Yes.
It's that concept of having a good foundation and life off the field as you do when you work. You have to understand that yes, you're in a high pressure job, in a high pressure situation, but you are a human being at the same time.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to do human things and normal things and understand certain aspects of of what's surrounding you.
Yeah. And what are your human things? I know some of them. Obviously,
Yeah.
your dog and, you know, you love your dog and your walks
I like
and stuff.
to walk the dog. I think it's you know, I think people, oh, you love your, of course, in the dressing room, people are like, the dog. I said to Alex, you know, I said, you know, the hour or so I get to walk King and Apollo soon is it's my time.
Yeah.
It's my free time.
Yeah.
You can't take that away from me. That's my time where that's me. You know, King can't talk back to me. Like, he's got nothing to say.
Yeah.
You know,
but by the same token, we'll give you unconditional love.
Yeah. So it's like, it just gives me, it's like, it's freedom.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's a few things, you know, obviously it sounds, you know, but you go, there's a lot of things you can have in a powerful situation, including money, but money can't buy you time.
Yeah.
And it can't buy you happiness. Well, majority of the time it can't buy you happiness. But you need to be able to balance it. You need to balance it. And it can't buy you freedom.
Yeah.
You know, it can't buy you freedom of the mind.
Do you feel like you've got a balance now?
A better balance.
And it's still a work in progress?
Yeah. And I think it always will be, because there'll be highs and lows from now to the end of my career.
Yeah.
That won't need to balance itself out. You know, I'm sure I'll have more down times again, and I'm sure I'll have many high times again.
I'm really pleased that you've come on and shown a vulnerable side. I'm not just saying this about you. I think football in general is an industry whereby you have to be macho. You cannot be seen to show weakness. I think it's only really been in the last year or two that people have been really willing to come forward and talk openly about vulnerability, insecurities, talk about mental health and these other issues. And, you know, there's no wonder that post-career or even during career that people spiral into depression, have issues with gambling or alcoholism, have, you know, relationship issues, because, you know, when people with again far less grounding than you've managed, you know, support that you've had with your family and stuff. There's people who've had far less opportunities than you've had growing up. You know, don't have that support network. I mean, you sort of touched on it a little bit, but, you know, like I used to question some of the people you used to hang around with back in the early days, and a lot of those people have gone, and you've got them out of your life, which is good for you. But I'm glad that you've opened up, because I definitely feel as though it's slowly moving towards that space where people feel comfortable about talking about it. And I think especially if you're not in touch with stuff that's going on in the Premier League, where it's really prevalent at the moment, is a lot of people are talking about it. But even here, it hasn't really reached here yet. You know, I don't think people are really open about talking about that stuff. And I hope that in you talking about it and you opening up, it will open up avenues for other people to say, listen, bloody hell, this guy is, you know, on the surface, he's got everything going for him. There is nothing wrong. He's got the most picture perfect life ever. And if he's able to come out and say, listen, actually, I have experienced some issues. I have experienced some problems. I've had to work with someone to overcome them, and I'm still working on it, and it's not there. Then hopefully that might give some sort of solace to people who are in a similar situation. Not in a same like profile level, but, you know, they might have pressures from school or pressures from friends or pressures from, you know, social media, feeling that they're inadequate. If you're feeling those things, everyone should feel, okay, well, you know, then it's all right for me to feel that way, for me to feel insecure.
I think that's one thing, you know, it's one thing at all age groups, and no matter what you do, you might not play football. Someone might be listening to this and not play football. They might play basketball or another sport or whatever it is, and it's okay to talk. Do you know what I mean? To don't feel that you're, you know, inferior or inadequate, or each individual has their own path to the top. Like we spoke about earlier, I should have played games at 21. I know, I never played a full season. I never played a full season of football until I was 25 years old.
Right.
I've accomplished playing in the Premier League, and half the people who started at 21 never have. Doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean they're wrong, doesn't mean I've done a better career they haven't, but I've had a very successful career, I believe. You know, a roller coaster of a ride. Yeah. But when people want to talk about, you know, I think bullying is another one, because it's all about being macho, like you said, and well, you can't feel like that. And I think Alex, my other half, has been a massive help for me, because, you know, even if we have a small argument or we have a disagreement, maybe even if I upset her for something, she'll be like, I think because of my mindset, she'll say, "You've made me feel like this," something, you know, like, "Why are you feeling like that for? You shouldn't." She's like, and then she'll sit to talk to me about a day later, and she goes, "You can't tell me how to feel. I feel the way I do because that's the way I feel. You can't tell. I can't tell you how to feel."
I get it. Yeah,
and it's something I've definitely taken on board, to understand my emotions and other people around me's emotions and feelings. Is that not everyone's the same. Not everyone's going to have the same enjoyment as others. Some people are going to take certain news worse than others.
Yeah.
And everyone should be happy and for who they are, and people should respect that everyone's different, and should understand that not everyone can be like themselves, and try to maybe sometimes put themselves in another situation.
It's got really heavy.
Yeah, no, we didn't get to the Premier League bit yet. No, I'm
not being funny, mate. You know, when you make fun of me, don't you? You made fun of me many times during this podcast. Oh, yeah, you've done your research, but I spend a lot of time researching. Even if I know you pretty well, but it's been a lot of time doing the research, and then you have an outline of how you want the conversation to go. This is way off track.
And this is what we were saying. Sorry, but this is what we were saying, is that you've written all these notes, and you've got some good times, and you've got some bad times, and you've got. It's like Instagram. You can make yourself look like you want to do on Instagram. But beneath the surface, people don't know. Yeah. Unless you ask, unless you want to hear. And this is not me coming out and go, right, don't worry, I haven't got any some sort of sponsorship with mental health things, but you know, I'm just, it's a different light. You know, people who may have not known my backstory have maybe joined the football scene in the last 4 years and gone, wow, this guy's gone from Walsall and he's then all of a sudden gone to Cardiff. He's playing Premier League. Right, but there was a deeper story than that, and there's still a deep story now. Yeah. And because I'm financially successful and I have, I guess, everything I want, that doesn't mean it comes without problems. Yeah. Financially, no. Mentally, yeah, it will. Yeah. You know, what do you do? Have I got a fear? It's just so many things. So many. Go on, carry on. You carry on now.
No. Like, I think maybe this interview is a metaphor for you as an individual. Like, you think things are going to go one way. You know, you think, oh, I'm going to map this out, and it's going to be, you know, for this interview, it will be like, we'll go through, cover all these points, we'll get to the Premier League. Yeah. Everything's nice and sequential, and then we get it off with your career. Yeah. I'm at Chelsea. I'm going to Fulham. I'm going to progress there. I'll get to the first team, and I think if this podcast has shown anyone, is that success comes in all manner of different shapes and sizes, and it definitely isn't an A to B straight line.
There's not.
And even when you get there, this is the thing that I've probably taken away most from the interview, is even when you get there, it doesn't necessarily mean that is you've reached your destination.
No, it doesn't. And people always say, especially in this generation, how many times people want to become a football player, a basketball player, a sportsman, a YouTuber now, Instagram model, I don't know, name it, bang, I want to be famous. Yeah. That is it. I want to be, I'm telling you now, fame comes with a lot of problems in all different shapes and sizes. Yeah. You know, whether it be a model who's meant to be doing this in bikini, but someone says they're fat. Mental side of things, I can go onto Twitter and can't count the amount of times I've had abuse. Yeah. Can't count the amount of times I've had, you know, plaudits. I can't, you know, it's a roller coaster ride. And sometimes people want to talk over a screen and say what they want to say, but they wouldn't say it to someone's face. Yeah. Ultimately, I are just another human being. and we're doing the job to the best of our ability. Like whether you sit in an office, whether you do what you want to do, you're doing the job to the best of your ability. But I won't come at you, but you sometimes have the right to come at me. Now that's, I guess, just the industry that we're in.
Yeah, you're in a public domain, so you have to
deal with it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that people don't see or feel the hurt that I hurt when I read it, or what it causes my family when they have to read it, or my friends. You know, I mean, we go back to that time of, you know, in the Maldives when you saw I got released. You probably weren't devastated, but you were probably maybe a little bit, wow, you know, that's not cool. Like, you know what I mean? You feel that. That's only a small thing. Yeah. So you know, it affects people around you, not just yourself. You know, and I think as you grow up in football, especially in football, you learn to have this thick skin, this I don't care attitude. Right, winning's winning. Got to do this. Got to do that. But people surrounding you who are close and who you love, they're not grown up. They're not brought up in that environment.
They didn't sign up for this. They didn't sign up for this,
and it hurts them. And they haven't got that armor that you've created over the years,
which then affects you.
Yeah,
ultimately.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but like, I really appreciate you opening up. You know, that's. You talk to me more than I care to respond. To be honest with you, you know, you
put time limits on
way too much. I put time limits on you. Yeah, give you like you can talk to me for the next 2 days. Then after that, I don't want to hear from you.
Well,
but so we don't. No, but we talk like this is the thing, right? So I don't know what it is. This is I can't remember how many podcasts we've done now, but in every single podcast, people have come out and said stuff that I don't think people would probably normally say in normal conversations. You know, we had Simone Rotta in here talking about attempted suicide. We had Trocky on here talking about, you know, domestic abuse. You know, you're coming on here and talking about mental health. We had Natasha was talking about, you know, conditions in which she had to go through. Like, I definitely think that there is. Everyone's got close friends, but I'm hoping that even through those interactions that people can really get to the bottom of like a lot of these things, because even as close as we are, you haven't come up and spoken about these sorts of things. You haven't opened up.
No.
So I hope that in talking about it, in coming on, and look, it's going to be there for everyone to listen to or for everyone to see, that, you know, check in with a friend or feel like there's an opportunity. There's always a platform there for people to speak, and if they have got problems, to sort of talk through and work through them.
Because you think that sometimes, like I said, you think that celebrities or whoever you look up to don't have problems. You think there's this bubble that they live in, that everything's great, and it's not always the case.
It's not always the case.
You got the Premier League now.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about Premier League or not?
We can go quickly over
it. For me, I think it'd be strange to go through Premier League now.
Yeah.
I think.
You want to end it on a downer, do you?
No, I don't want to end it on a downer. It's not a downer. Like I want to end it on a more positive note, because that was dark. But I think it's important that you bring it up.
Yeah.
If someone's going to bring it up, I'm glad it's you, because I think it will carry weight. But one of the things I want to talk just with the Premier League thing, because I know people are going to want to know.
That's
anyway,
what I'm saying. People want to know.
People want to know, but it's going to seem a little bit redundant because you said it wasn't great, but when those first couple of weeks for you, you know, I remember tuning into the Bournemouth game. It was on TV here.
No. What I was saying is that living in the moment is different. So when you're saying like I'm sure like the question, did you? I did. I loved playing in the Premier League. The first couple of days. I mean, I was the first saving the penalty in the last minute of the game. Yeah. Fantastic. You know what I mean? That I could live in that moment. That's a good moment.
Yeah.
Traveling around the world, Dubai, you know, going here, going wherever, and football's on, Premier League's on. That's still a good feeling. Do you know what I mean? Like that's still, you know, that's something that I'll never, that season.
Yeah.
You know, I think I lived the Premier League season more than I did the Championship promotion, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Because I remember when it happened. I remember the Bournemouth game. First
that was on TV here.
TV here. Saw it. Watched it live.
Yeah.
Oh my God, penalty. Oh my God, he saved it. Can't you know, like one of them, right? So I remember that. Then obviously the following week at the Newcastle game, oh my God, he's done it again. I mean, your profile at that point, it's just through the stratosphere. It is like on another, you have the kind of the build up. So there's the unique element of, we've got a Filipino footballer, right? So there's that. And I think you did, it garnered a lot of attention. So you know, because that sort of narrative was pushed, and not necessarily from here, because there wasn't that much, there's certain sections of the media that were talking about it, but I think that narrative was actually pushed more so from other media outlets, even
from the Premier League itself, because the Premier League wants to reach out.
Of course,
you know, it's shown in so many countries, but it wants to reach out.
Yeah.
You know, and it wants to help obviously the grassroots here, not just here but everywhere,
Southeast Asia, Asia in general. So I think that was great. So that narrative was already being pushed. Then obviously it needs to be backed up with performances at the end of the day, which you did. You know, in which you did. I mean, that period. I think shortly afterwards you came out for national team. Is that right? I remember sitting in a. It was, no, I tell you what, it was for the Tajikistan game. So that would have been, that would have been midway through that season, wouldn't it? Or actually, no, second half of the season. That would have been the second half of your Premier League season. But I hadn't been to see any of your games up until that point. I remember sitting down in the hotel room and I asked you this question. I said, well, how's the difference for you? Like, from the Championship to the Premier League? And your answer was something like, the focus level is just like, I'm lasered in like the whole game. So explain to the listeners a little bit more, like why did it require you to have that level of concentration playing in that level?
Because they're that good.
Yeah.
How do you describe this? It's like obvious, best players in the world.
Yeah.
But not, you know, you play in the Championship, they've got 2 or 3 outstanding players. In the Premier League, you've got 9 players. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
They're unbelievable. You have to be so focused. Obviously, the crowds are bigger, naturally. The pressure is bigger.
Yeah.
The demand is higher. There's so much to play for. Whether it be finances, whether it be your position in the league, whether it be for the club, whether it be your position on the field.
Yeah.
You know you're watched with more eyes around the world, so you want to perform better. Concentration levels have to be at peak just because they are that good in that.
Yeah.
They are. I mean, you know, they are that good. Honestly, I mean, it was such a privilege and experience to play at that level.
Do you think it brought the best out of you though?
Yeah, it did. I think people have now been able to see that. See, I wouldn't say this is what I'm saying, but I don't think I would have said this maybe a year ago. Is that it's brought the best out of me, and people have now seen that I am able to play at that level.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have said that about a year ago. But yeah, I think it was a fantastic experience, and I do believe that I've proved to a lot of people wrong, in the sense of, can he play in the Premier League? Can he do it? I thought that I definitely stood on my own 2 feet and was there to be counted.
Yeah. Do you think you proved a lot to yourself as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think just game after game, you know, whether it be pulling off saves or dealing with the media or whatever it may be, you know, you're losing 5-1, 5-0 against Man United and coming back the next week, like all that sort of stuff is I proved a lot to myself. I proved that, you know, I can cut it at the highest level.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
Yeah.
You know, I can.
Yeah.
And obviously, if I just want to keep striding forward, and you know, I hope obviously one day I can go back up there.
Yeah. There's one other thing I want to talk about with regards to the Premier League. So we spoke a lot about, I mean, the level was great, like TV camera's great. But there's one other thing you said about the Premier League that you noticed. The smells.
Yesterday at
the
dinner.
smells of the Premier League. So of all that you said today,
you should get your brother here and him tell the story of what he said first.
No, we can't do the initial story. Tell us about the smells.
The initial story of my story.
No, just talk about, it's up to you. You can tell it how, it's your story. You tell it how.
So anyway, we'll do the whole story. So I've gone to help G8 Academy, you know.
My brother's academy, name that on my show.
I'm getting a lot of that. And there are other academies available. I went to see the G8 Academy with Cyber in the summer when I was here, just for a last. Anyway, I was doing some pre-season running and whatever, and I've changed my top before going around to the groups and taking pictures. Anyway, Sai has gone. I left my sweaty T-shirt in the back of his car in the boot. He's pulled out when I've left and gone to the airport. For some reason, right, I'm gonna pull him up. He started sniffing my T-shirt, and he was like, "It smells so good. Why does it smell?" And he's gone to his other academy secretary or whoever.
Yeah.
Smell this T-shirt, and they're all looking at it like this damp, sweaty T-shirt, and they start smelling it. Oh, it smells so good. Whose is it? It's gone round the whole academy, and everyone's smelling my sweaty T-shirt. Anyway, it brings on to the your thing. Yeah, the smells. Honestly, like it's a very. I said to you yesterday at dinner that I was walking. I'm usually one of the last to leave my dressing room, and as you walk past all the players in the Premier League, it's like if you're here in the Philippines, it's like walking into the perfume section of Ruston's or Houston's or SM Aura. It is unbelievable. The Hugo Boss, the Dolce Gabbana, the Gucci, doesn't matter. You name it, I've smelt it all. It's unbelievable. The perfume store.
Who's the best smelling? Do you remember?
What's the guy? There's a few.
Go on. Give me a name.
Matic is a good smeller.
But he smells beautiful.
Yeah, Creed, Aventus he wears.
Yes.
Who else? Tottenham centre half, slick, good-looking guy.
Toby Alderweireld.
Unbelievable smell.
But he smells
unbelievable
beautiful.
Smell. Honestly, like
his hair and his hair's good.
Hair's always slick as well. No, there's been a few good smelling,
fragrant.
Yeah,
fragrant.
I think there must be like a thing that they just spray out before they go out.
Was it just natural? Was it just natural bodily, like just how they smell?
Oh, I don't know.
Smell like Premier League.
They smell like Premier League. That could be a new one.
Is it?
Maybe we should bring out a fragrance.
What, your own fragrance line?
Smell like Premier League.
Premier League by Neil Etheridge.
Just smell like Premier League.
Which would be a bit weird if you're in the Championship.
Yeah, not
or is that
so
like
good.
the level down fragrance?
You can't get. That's the cheap knockoff version we get.
Okay. But no, I think that was interesting. I think that's interesting.
Everything's different in the Premier League.
Everything's just like, high level.
It's just that extra bit more. Everything. There's from the smells to the. No, it is. I mean, it's how you conduct yourself on the field, off the field.
Yeah.
Within means. I mean, obviously, bear in mind some of these boys are on serious amounts of cash.
Yeah.
And but every detail. Details. You spoke about details, and I think smell is taking the mickey, but the details of players in the Premier League, they have to be on point.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Whether it be on the field or off the field.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting aspect that no one's experienced before.
No one's experienced.
And that's, you know what? And I said this. Maybe this would be the way we sort of segue into the final bit of the show. Is that no one's had this experience, Neil? Like no one. When I first started out, the mere idea of having a Filipino player in the Premier League was so far-fetched. It was just way beyond reach. That for us as a group, because you're in my group, even though you're a bit younger than me, we've always made steady strides towards development, and I think the national team has kind of moved in that direction as well. We've made some forward steps, and obviously we've achieved a lot. But from your end, you've sort of meandered, and you've, like you said, it's a roller coaster for you. But for you to get to the upper echelons of football and to reach what is undoubtedly the pinnacle, undoubtedly the pinnacle in world football, is incredible. It's an incredible achievement, and I look at. When I see you, mate, I still see that kid with the red stripe in his hair, and I think, oh my gosh, how has he got there? And one of the things that always resonates with you, Neil, is, and I know I'm glad that you talked about your insecurities, but for me, there were times when I was like, I wish he'd just go on loan, or when you didn't take the Charlton gig, I was like, just take the Charlton gig. What are you doing? Just don't worry about the money. Just take that. But I always think one of the things that with you was that in your mind, you're always a Premier League player. In your mind, like, and I would look at you and think, I'm not sure if he is, like, he needs to maybe take a step down and see if he can work his way back up there. And maybe we're both right, because in the end, that is what you had to do.
Yeah.
But I think that mindset of maybe at the time you weren't that good, but if you'd listened to that inner voice and been like, I'm not good enough, especially after that Exeter fiasco, then we wouldn't be sat here talking, or we'd be having a very different conversation.
Very different conversation. We're still talking.
I probably would have kicked you. I would have chucked you as a friend, mate. I'm not gonna lie, like your other mates who disappeared when you had that bad period. But first of all, I want to say thank you, because I think as an ambassador, like, you're an incredible ambassador for Philippine football.
I'd like to do more as well.
You do your share, mate. You do more than enough. Don't get confused with you. You'd like to do more, great. But like you also said, I think you do plenty. You do plenty. So don't worry about that too much. But I think the way you project yourself, the way you conduct yourself, the amount of people who, when you do interviews for the Premier League, how do you come across? You've probably been a bit more light, a bit more kind of jovial on this one, but you're articulate. You're brighter than you probably give yourself credit for, and certainly brighter than I make you out to be. And in that sense, we're really fortunate. We're really fortunate to have someone like you to fly the flag for the country, because you're the only one. You're the only one out there who's doing the good fight at the moment. And what I hope really is your legacy moving forward is that you inspire the next generation of footballers in the Philippines, or people in a similar situation to you and I, who are Filipino growing up elsewhere, but realise that it's possible. It's possible.
100% for everyone, for anyone, for any Filipino, whether you living here, whether you're living abroad, wherever it may be. Honestly, it's one of those to think. I know you want to wrap this up. I went to Anfield, obviously, last season.
Yeah, Liverpool's ground. Yeah, and as a kid, my uncle and my cousin used to take me to Anfield, and I remember doing my warm up and looking up. So I'm warming up and I'm looking out to my top right, and that's where I used to sit. It's just, do you know what I mean? Like, things like that, you just don't forget. And going to it is that you don't give up on a dream. Like, don't any Southeast Asian, Filipino, whatever nationality you are, but obviously, like you said, flying the flag for the Philippines and Southeast Asia as an area, it's a massive privilege, to be honest, and I'm obviously very proud to do it for the Philippines. To be linked with the biggest club in the world in the summer, I didn't obviously go, but to be linked and to even have my name up against them is a massive thing, and for me to be a part of the Premier League last season is a massive achievement as well. So I just want to, and I want to thank everyone who supported me. For me, it's thanking everyone who supported me along the way, and I thank you. I've not met every supporter out there. Do you know what I mean? And Instagram and Twitter and people who message me, I can't reply to everyone, but it's a way of, especially my supporters here in the Philippines, to say thank you and do this long and windy interview. Yeah, well, it's been a privilege having you on, mate. I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you opening up on everything, really. Some things I knew about you, and some things that I'm learning fresh on the mic. So but no, I really appreciate you being open and honest, and sharing with me and everyone else who's watching, listening, your story, and stories that you probably never told before. But thanks for giving up your time and coming on. We appreciate it, and wish you all the success in the future.
Thank you very much.
Right. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks for catching Across the Line. If you want us to continue doing more episodes, subscribe to us on YouTube, download our episodes on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and on Spotify. And also drop a comment para tuloy-tuloy itong Across the Line.